So, welcome everyone. Thank you for coming out tonight. This is the fourth public meeting that has been arranged and sponsored by the Belfast Climate Crisis Committee and the newly formed organization Climate Solutions Waldo County. We are partnering in sponsoring these public meetings. This is the fourth. You all know the title, but it's Save Energy, Save Money, and Save Our Planet. And so our program includes a little bit of a slideshow by me as an introduction, and then we have two presenters. We have a person from Bridget Doxey from Efficiency Maine, a presenter, to do the Efficiency Maine program and talk and answer questions at some point. And then we have Corliss Davis, many of you know her, from Window Dressers. She's going to do a little presentation. And she brought one of her customers, I believe, tonight to talk about how well their products work. But to start, we have someone from the Climate Crisis Committee, another member of the Crisis Committee, Joe, to just talk a little bit about what's been going on with our committee and these meetings.
Yeah, thanks. Welcome everybody. And just in case you haven't been here before, I just want to bring you up to date on what the committee has been up to very quickly. You may have known it was formed about a year ago, and the City Council has tasked the committee with writing a report on sea level rise in Belfast. That report was subsequently written over time, and it ended up to be three parts. There's a couple of copies in the back here. The website is on the back page. It makes for really interesting reading and an important reading. I think it's a really well-written report. I did not bother cutting down a tree to make 40 more copies of this, but because the website's in the back, and it's really worth reading. I did, however, glean out some of our objective data, which we used as slides for our first presentation, in case you wanted to check that out, take that with you. So that's what the committee started to do. Once this report was accepted by the City Council, they then tasked us to reach out to the Belfast community as a second step. And once we reported here and presented our slides, we then wanted to get your feedback, which I think is the most important thing of all. What does everybody in Belfast feel? So in the back there, you see the report. On the second part, you'll see the input that we're looking for from you. A lot of you have been here before, and if you filled out the information questionnaire, thank you. If you have not, we really want everyone's input that we can on what you feel that the crisis is and what you feel any solutions would be. So we had a meeting or two about that, and finally, we actually used that data to decide what would the next meeting be like and how can we help that way. And so about a month ago, we had people from solar panel community come down, and those corporations gave us a really nice lecture on why solar panels, whether they would work specifically for you, and what the benefits are and the non-benefits. And also, most interesting to me is this year, 2020, some of the financial incentives and tax incentives are going away. So it may be a time to look into that if that's appropriate for your home or business and jump on that this year, because those are significant tax incentives that are going away. And so that sort of brings us up to today. We want to continue looking at things that can be helpful for our Belfast homes and our businesses. And if you have any questions at all about that, just feel free to grab one of us at the end, and we can fill you in a little better. So thank you.
Thanks, Joe. So at previous presentations, public meetings, I've shown some introductory slides to create the context to show what we're experiencing, what the causes, some of the science, what the causes of climate warming is about, and what some of the technology is, what are some of the solutions. We have a lot of solutions, and what's happening in the world, and what's being done. And I don't want to downplay this by any means. We know that there are some significant, devastating things happening presently. The The wildfires in Australia are almost beyond comprehension the last couple of months. And of course, sea level rise continues, and people are being displaced because of that. And storms are continuing. We haven't had any near us in the last few weeks or months, but flooding is still happening in different parts of the world. And there are drought areas that are worsening every day. So the climate crisis continues, but I decided I wanted to show a different set of slides, just to start off. It's fairly brief, but it felt like speaking to why I'm doing what I'm doing, and maybe why many of you are here. So they're just images. I'll say a few words, but enjoy the slides. A beautiful home we have, is it not? And we share it with some interesting folks. And here are the people who feed us. And of course, we're thinking of our children, the children, all of the children. Similarities, families, children. So, we're now going to hear a bit about how we can do our best to mitigate in the best ways we can by doing energy efficiency treatments to our homes and possibly our vehicles and the way we transport ourselves. The energy efficiency lever, I like to call it, there are about 20 levers to be moved, is one of the most powerful levers that we have. and I can tell you more about that at some other time. But I'm really happy to hear from especially the Efficiency Maine and the window dresser effects of saving energy in our homes. So, Efficiency Maine.
Well, thank you all for having me here. I am obviously passionate about this work, and it's really thrilling to be in a room full of other passionate Mainers. Thank you, Hank, for the presentation and for the invitation. My goal tonight really is just to explain in simple terms what Efficiency Maine is offering so that you can take advantage of those offerings and spread the word to your neighbors and your friends. And we can improve the state of Maine. So Efficiency Maine has a whole host of different programs we offer, commercial, industrial. I'm just going to talk tonight about our residential offerings, but know that if you're a small business owner or a large business owner, there are programs and initiatives for you as well. This is just a little bit about Efficiency Maine and what we do. We provide rebates and financing and technical information through our registry of vendors. So really how the work gets done is through the contracting community of Maine. They are affiliated with Efficiency Maine. They provide their insurance and their credentials to Efficiency Maine, and they're listed on our website. So in order to take advantage of the rebates and incentives through the state of Maine, you need to be partnered with a contractor who is affiliated with Efficiency Maine. And so I'm going to go through how that's done. I've got some information in the back too, but we've got hundreds and hundreds of contractors that are linked with Efficiency Maine. So we are funded in a lot of different ways, and we are true to those funding sources in investing those budgets toward that particular efficiency measure. So on your electric bill, for example, you've got an SBC charge. We would be investing the electric money into electric measures. So heat pumps, heat pump water heaters, and LED bulbs, and those sorts of things are sort of tracked differently than weatherization would be a different bucket. So that's just sort of the back end of things. As we go through the presentation, please ask me any questions you've got. This is our mission statement: to lower the cost and environmental impacts of energy by promoting energy efficiency in the state of Maine. So why invest in energy efficiency? I'm sure everyone here is able to answer that question quite well. The governor has some pretty strong goals in reducing Maine's carbon footprint over the next 5 years, and so that is an important bullet here, not listed. But these are just some examples of how you at home might benefit from investments in energy efficiency. So this is our heating cost comparison chart. This is just sort of a template of a typical Maine home and what heating source you're using and how that looks. So wherever you are on this continuum, it's sometimes helpful to just see what is the most efficient way to heat your home to the least efficient way. And those are just typical annual costs. So the rebates and financing, this is really the bread and butter of what Efficiency Maine does. We offer you money to compel you to go with the high efficiency product. So what we're really trying to do is, rather than you go to the store or to the distributor and take off the baseline product, the bottom cheap item, we want you to compel you to go highest efficiency, and to help you do that, we offer you money to offset that delta. So these are some weatherization offerings here. The energy audit and air sealing, typically those costs are about $600. Efficiency Maine would offer you $500 off the cost of that. And that's really just going to give you an energy audit of what's going on in your home. They're going to do some air sealing. They're going to do the blower door test where they depressurize the home and give you an idea of what you might want to tackle first. Where's your low-hanging fruit for your home? We consider different zones of insulation, different project lines. And so for your basement or your walls or your attic, 30% of the project cost up to $1,000, you could be rebated. For your heating systems, these are the present offerings at Efficiency Maine. We just announced recently the ductless heat pump initiative. We've got $1,000 off a high efficiency heat pump. If you are a moderate income Mainer or a low income Mainer, there is $1,500 to $2,000 off of that cost. Those typically are, for one indoor unit, one outdoor unit, it's typically below $4,000, maybe between $3,500 and $4,000 for a simple installation. And those units are, there's an outside unit, there's like a wall cassette, they heat, they cool. Question?
But you said the heat pump
Yes.
has different income qualifiers.
Yep.
Are all the other things you're offering for everybody, or you have to have certain economic?
So this is for everyone. All of these are for everyone. If you are low and moderate income, there's like an adder with most of our incentives and rebates. So I'm going to get into that a little bit later, what that schedule is, and it's really based on assessed value. So for Waldo County, it's $100,000 or less, your combined land and building assessed value. If you fall within that threshold, less than $100,000, you'd be eligible for a $1,500 heat pump incentive. If you're a LIHEAP home, and you own your home, LIHEAP is the Low-Income Heating Assistance Program, so you get heating assistance through the Maine State Housing Authority. You would be offered a $2,000 rebate. But everything else, if you're just a regular income Mainer, we've got $500 to $1,000 for you off of that. And again, really, what you want to do is you want to talk to a registered vendor, a contractor, and go through what is best for your home and your situation. So all of these are the heating system rebates. Heat pump water heaters are very popular. They look a lot like an electric resistance tank. They're much more efficient than electric resistance, although they're using electricity. We've got a $750 rebate, instant or mail-in. You can install these yourself. We consider it an appliance. For the other heating system and weatherization rebates, you need a contractor to partner. For this, you can do your own installation. There's an asterisk here about low-income Mainers. If you are benefiting from any kind of state aid in the Department of Health and Human Services or Maine State Housing Authority, Efficiency Maine will hire a plumber to install a heat pump water heater for you totally free. They're wildly efficient. In that situation, we want to be sure that the baseline was electric resistance. So we would remove the electric resistance tank and install the heat pump water heater, because again, we want to be sure that we're investing electric money in electric measures. So this is a very popular installation. And these are some more appliances that we rebate. You simply go to the store, purchase this. As long as it's an Energy Star qualified unit, there's a little form to fill out, and we'll just send you $50. Okay, LED bulbs. I'm sure we all have these in our homes. We reduce the price right at the store. In Lowe's or Home Depot, hopefully you've seen the Efficiency Maine tag and you're purchasing those. On our website, there is a listing of where the best deals are in the state. If you want to drive around and get the best deal, you certainly can. We also, this year, are excited to announce some electric vehicle rebates. Yes, question?
Quick question on the bulb.
Yep.
You said Lowe's and Home Depot, but what about the local hardware stores?
And the local hardware stores. Yeah, wherever you're purchasing bulbs, you should be able to find the Efficiency Maine tag. And if you're not, call the call center and tell them that you couldn't find them there. So this year we are offering incentives for electric vehicles. And that initiative is brand new to the state of Maine. We're also investing in some infrastructure and some charging stations along the corridors of Maine, as well as different grocery stores, shopping centers, and large employers. So this is just sort of the schedule of that. There's a $2,000 rebate for an EV, $3,000 if you're low income, and then there's a very generous offering for municipalities to update their fleets. So this is the low and moderate income heat pump schedule that I was mentioning before. That earlier slide had a $500 to $2,000 sliding scale. If your assessed value falls within these county thresholds, you would be eligible for that $1,500 amount off of your heat pump installation. And again, if you're getting any kind of benefit through the state, your heating assistance, that would be $2,000 rather than $1,500. So if that's applicable to you, great. If you've got a neighbor or a friend, we've just launched this in November, so we're trying to market and get the word out. And it's not at the pace that we'd like it to be yet. So we're really trying to push heat pumps. The governor has a goal of 100,000 heat pumps in the next 5 years. The state of Maine is recognizing the benefits of beneficial electrification and getting people to move off of fossil fuels and onto electric energies. And having those sources come from renewables is ideal. So that's sort of the shift in thinking under this administration, and Efficiency Maine is excited to work behind the governor on that goal. We've got a low-income direct mail. This is by invitation only. It's just something you should be aware of. If you're low-income, the Department of Health and Human Services and Maine State Housing shares their lists with us, those addresses throughout the state, and they're offered a card of do-it-yourself measures. So in the kit, if they opt in, the kit would supply that household with LED bulbs, aerators for their kitchen and their bathroom, as well as low energy-saving shower heads for their showers. We've got a loan product on staff within the trust that is open to everyone. It's quite generous, and it's a really great way to fund your efficiency project. Federal tax credits, this is something that we just refer to your accountant on what's going on with your specific situation. But it was mentioned that those things are sunsetting, and so that's important to be aware of. This electric vehicle tax credit, certainly paired with the Efficiency Maine credit, makes an electric vehicle absolutely doable. You have a question?
Are those tax credits locked in? I mean, in other words, if the administration changed in November, could that be reinstated, or is this locked in somewhere?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, this is federal. Yeah,
Oh, right, I know.
yeah. So Efficiency Maine tools on our website, we have a lot of different tools that are interesting. You can just plug in your own information for your home. So I brought some brochures, they're in the back. It's just a snapshot of all of our residential offerings, all of our commercial offerings on one piece of paper, and then the other piece of paper looks a little bit like this. So this is the most used tool on our website, and this is how to find a vendor. You know, there are over 300 contractors in the state that are affiliated with Efficiency Maine, but how do I know who they are and how can I start that conversation? So what you want to do is this drop down here, what services do you need? That's probably hard to read in the back. What services you're looking for. Are you looking for weatherization, heating systems? So you're going to choose what you're looking for, your zip code here, And then the distance, what radius do you want? 30 miles within. And it's going to automatically sort by the number of projects completed by each vendor. So it will populate, the vendor that does the most rebated projects top, and so on. So it can get an idea. They've all been vetted. We've got all of their credentials and their insurance, but you can get an idea of who does the most projects with Efficiency Maine. And so it will populate in your town or in your county who is doing the specialty that you're interested in. On our website also, we've got this home efficiency calculator. It's just going to give you a real rough estimate of what's happening in your home. You can plug in all of your usage data, and it will show this dial and give you an idea of if your home's pretty tight in the green or if you're in the red and you need to take action. I showed this slide earlier, but it's a compelling one, so we do it twice. It's just helpful to take a peek. The least efficient way to heat your home is electric baseboard, and one of the most efficient is also electricity. So something that is usually startling as well is where propane falls in this continuum. I think there's a misnomer out there that propane is wildly efficient. It's also pretty costly, so that's usually startling to realize. This is the same kind of schedule with water heating. Again, your electric tank, wildly inefficient heat pump water heater, very efficient. So as I mentioned before, we're trying to, that's a simple switch. Taking someone off of an electric resistance tank and onto a heat pump water heater is real easy, and it can be a DIY project over the weekend. This is a calculator that you can determine your lighting savings at home. You can just go around your home, count the number of bulbs that exist and the number of sockets, and get a calculation of what savings over incandescent, if you're using LEDs, that you can realize over a year's time. And electricity monitors. We offer these throughout all of the libraries in the state of Maine. You can borrow them, bring them home, plug them in, get some good data about your appliances. It's a fun activity for kids, but it's really interesting for adults as well, just to understand what the wattage is and what is really happening for all of your home appliances. On our website, we have lots of other just technical information, research that's been done. We've got a whole host of heat pump information there, case studies and FAQs, a lot of user tips, and a library of print resources. So if you are interested in any of these things, I would say go on our website. If you are being overwhelmed by our website, we've got a call center, which might be the next step. So the call center number is staffed Monday through Friday in Brunswick, and it's this 866 number. They can answer any question you've got, and if they can't answer the question, they will connect you with someone who can. So usually that's a super handy number to just jot down. It's on all of our resources, our print resources in the back. If you take a flyer and have a question tomorrow, want to call me, call the call center. Likely they'll be able to answer it faster than I can. I'll be in a meeting in the morning. But you can always say, please connect me to Bridget, and they will. And so that's the presentation, but I'd love to answer any questions. Okay, there's one over here. Yeah.
I would like you to go back to the energy audit piece.
Okay.
I think I heard you say that those energy audits typically run around $600, but there is a 400 to 500 rebate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I understand it correctly?
Yep. So it's just an energy audit and air sealing, and they vary. But The energy audit, it's typically 6 hours of air sealing and insulation that's attributed to this. And that would be typically a $600 job. And Efficiency Maine would offset that by $400, would rebate you $400.
And is part of that an analysis of the home in terms of where the leakage is and maybe what possible solutions are?
So the outfits that would be performing the energy audit are weatherization outfits. And so what they're going to do is the energy audit for $600 and then let you know what else they can do, what zones would need to be addressed next, and what the fee would be for that. So they're going to really be looking at your home more from a weatherization standpoint rather than a holistic approach, you know, reminding you that LEDs should be in those sockets or a heat pump water heater would be appropriate. They're looking at a weatherization focus mostly.
So my second question is then, it still sounds like there could be $100 to $200 cost for that. And I'm wondering, are there any mechanisms through the state for folks for who made $100 to $200 to start with without knowing what they're going to get from it, could help bring down that cost? I would think that would be almost something that would come first as opposed to jumping in necessarily to the heavy appliance, the new appliances.
So for the energy audit and air sealing, they're going to look at your home and give you an idea of where you want to address the weatherization, and while they're there also assign hours of air sealing and insulation. So they will be doing some light weatherization for that $600. And the low income offering would be covering the full cost of that. We're just sort of launching that a little later this week, but those county thresholds that I had shown earlier, if someone falls under that, they would be eligible for a more generous offering. Yeah.
I just want to check and see if I understood. For most of these services, the process is I need to first locate a certified provider, contractor,
So,
and then
yeah.
go through them to find out how the process will work.
Absolutely. And so I talk to Mainers all the time who feel frustrated that they installed a high efficiency system and they didn't get their rebate. So it's really important that you are connected with a contractor who's affiliated with Efficiency Maine if you're talking about a heating system or a weatherization job. Those other items we talked about, the heat pump water heater or the LED bulbs and the other appliances, that's do it yourself. But those larger jobs, you need to be partnered with a contractor affiliated with Efficiency Maine. So that find a vendor page, that locator tool, I've got forms in the back on how to find your vendor. It is important to just ask that question. Maybe you've got a contractor you're already working with. Ask that question, are you affiliated with Efficiency Maine? And if they're not, it's super easy. They should be on our website. Yeah, question in the back.
For a rebate, does the vendor or the contractor deduct that from the cost, or does the homeowner have to wait to do the reverse?
That's a great question. It can go either way. That's a conversation you want to have with your contractor. They can take it right off the invoice and the check gets sent to them, or the check gets sent to you. That's your discretion. Well, I'm going to be here all night, so if anyone has questions later, I'm going to hand it over to Window Dressers and unplug. And thank you so much.
All right, very good. So my name is Corliss Davis, and I'm a longtime volunteer with Window Dressers here in Belfast. And I'm just curious, does anyone here besides my invitee, John, already have window inserts in their home? Oh, I see like 3 or 4. Yes, my husband does. Okay. Well, that's great. So what Window Dressers is a volunteer-driven organization, 501c3, that makes these window inserts for Mainers of all income levels using volunteer labor to keep the cost down. The organization was started in 2010 down in Rockland by a couple of retired engineers whose church was losing a lot of money through the sanctuary windows, and they couldn't afford to replace them, so they went out and learned how to make these inserts themselves, made them for the church, and then it kind of spread from there. They have a headquarters now down in Rockland at the Lincoln Street Center, which is where all the wood is cut that makes all of these inserts. And they also now have 2 full-time employees and about 2 or 3 half-time employees. But everyone else in the state, all of the different people making these around the state, are volunteers, and that's how the costs are kept down quite low. In the first 9 years, to give you some statistics of Window Dressers operation, like 2010 through 2018, the organization made over 34,600 of these window inserts around the state of Maine. And they're probably producing another 8,000 or 9,000 across the state every year. In Waldo County, there are 3 workshops: the Belfast workshop, the Searsport workshop, and the Unity workshop. And by that I mean a town where volunteers have gotten together, have been trained, work together for a couple of weeks every year and make inserts. That's what we call a community workshop. In 2019, there were 30 workshops around the state of Maine and also 5 in the state of Vermont. We branched out to a new state for the first time last year. In Belfast, since 2012, which is when we started our workshop for the first time, we've made over 3,500 inserts. 2019 was our 8th year, so we pretty well know what we're doing by now, I think. We made 484 new inserts for 64 customers. We also did 55 of what we call rewraps, which is where someone has a cat or a child or the customer, him or herself, who accidentally pokes a hole in the plastic, and we can rewrap the insert for $10. Yes, Ned, you're waving at him?
Yes, your paper is banging against the microphone.
Oh, sorry. Okay. All right. I hope I don't need to start all over. Oh, good. Okay. So how do these community workshops develop? We're going to show you some slides in a few minutes of what they look like, what the steps are. But basically, anyone who's interested in window dressers inserts can sign up on the website, windowdressers.org. And I left some rack cards at the back that give you the web address and the phone number down in Rockland. Or you can contact one of the local coordinators. The rack cards include the name and phone number of the local coordinators for Belfast, Searsport, and Unity. And then when you submit this information, I also have a clipboard in the back, actually. If you'd rather just sign up on the clipboard, that would work too. You'll be assigned to the workshop that's nearest your home, and then each workshop sends out a team of measurers to your house to measure the windows that you think you're interested in having inserts for. And the measurers also can give you a lot of advice about your windows, which ones would benefit the most from an insert. Usually it's a north or western facing window, a shaded window, a window that is, heaven forbid, single pane glass or very old and rattly and lets a lot of drafts in. And we'll give you advice too about what to do about blinds or shades or things that might be in the way of the insert. So it's a good visit, an informative visit. So then all of this information is sent by the measurers down to Rockland. We use software on our laptops. They take that information and they cut the wood then and provide us with the pieces of wood and the plastic and all of that we use to make the inserts. So why do you think you might want to add a window dresser's insert to obviously you're all interested in saving fossil fuel use, you're saving money, being more efficient in your home. So what window dresser's inserts can offer you are a double layer of insert over every window that you choose to put an insert on, because you have two dead air spaces, one between your glass window and the insert and one in between the 2 layers of plastic. So you have twice the insulation value of a single piece of plastic, like many of us have stuck up on our windows over the years. You also don't end up with that glue residue stuck around your window frame, because our inserts fit actually into the window frame. The foam that you've seen on this little sample passing around, actually, when we take measurements, we're measuring the actual inside of a window frame, but the software will reduce that by just enough to allow space for the foam around the edge, and that causes that insert to fit really snugly into your window. So that's going to reduce drafts and also make that insert fit really well. Also, the pine that this is Robbins lumber, white pine. The pine these inserts are made from provides much better insulation than something like an aluminum storm window. Aluminum conducts the cold very, very well. Pine will not conduct the cold well. So they're very easy to install and remove. We give everyone a little paint can opener to stick underneath the insert and pull it out in the spring. Window Dresser says they should last from 5 to 10 years. I think that's very conservative, actually, because we have, I don't know, 4 or 5 in our house that were made in 2012. The first year we did this in Belfast, they're just fine, perfectly fine. So what Window Dresser says is that in a typical house, 10 of our inserts can save an average of 105 gallons of heating fuel each year. Because we have, I'll put in a plug for heat pumps, we installed 2 heat pumps in our house in 2013. We have not bought any oil since then. So I don't know what the price of a gallon of heating fuel is at the moment, but on the Window Dressers website, they say, for example, if it's $2.70 a gallon, is that close? I have no clue.
$3.
$3? Okay, so you could save $300 a year then if it's $3 a gallon by having 10 inserts in your home. And interesting little factoid, they actually calculated, and there's a chart on the back table that gives you more detail on this, that over the course of the first 9 years of Window Dressers operation, so 2010 through 2018, they've saved around the state 1,184,000 gallons of heating fuel. So we're doing our part to help the planet, we hope. So someone asked me at the beginning here about pricing, and we have many different ways of working with people to pay for these. First of all, we could suggest that you just get inserts for the 4 or 5 inserts, 4 or 5 windows that need them the most. And then you can come back the second year and get more. You can add more each year. Also, if you buy them in pine, they're much less expensive than they are pre-painted white. That sample shows you both finishes. One side was pine, one side was white. We also have, Window Dressers is a nonprofit organization, and its goal is to provide for 25 or 30% of our customers up to 10 pine inserts at absolutely no charge each year. Our full pay customers are paying pretty much exactly the cost of the materials and overhead needed to produce these inserts. But we offer a special rate program. If you can't afford anything, that's fine. We'll give you up to 10 each year for no cost. But the only way we cover those low-income customers is through grants and donations. So we ask all of our customers if they could possibly make a small donation, and most of our special rate customers do give us $10 or $20 or $50, whatever. They're not paying anywhere near the full cost of the inserts. So in 2019 in Belfast, we were very proud to be able to say that 24 of our 64 customers were special rate. So none of those 24 paid the full cost of their inserts. We were able to get a grant this year from the New England Grassroots Environment Fund that paid for maybe 6 of those 24 customers, but the others are all covered by donations and grants that come in across the state. So it's a very important part of our program. In terms of regular pricing, for 2019, and it should stay the same for 2020, the cost of a medium-sized window, and I have more detail here if you're curious, but 30 inches by 52 inches, is about $40 in pine and about $50 in white. So, and that should stay the same this next year. So those costs are, I don't know how many of you have priced commercially prepared window inserts, but they're a great deal more than that, much more than that. So we do ask all of our customers to volunteer. And we also have a wonderful support from the community in general. We had about 145 different individuals volunteering at the boathouse here in Belfast last November. We have a lot of people who come back every year just because they think it's fun, it's a cause they believe in, and they want to help out. So, and most all of our customers did volunteer in some way this year too. They either came into work, they provided food, or we excused them. We had 4 or 5 customers this year who were in their 90s. So we didn't demand that they come down and help make inserts. We let them off. So in summary, there are 4 reasons we always talk about window dressers being beneficial. They save fuel costs. They keep your home more comfortable by eliminating drafts, keeping your rooms a little more quiet, actually, too. They reduce carbon emissions, obviously, because they're reducing the number of fossil fuels you're burning. And they build community by helping us all work together on a project we all believe in. So before we show you a few slides, I did invite John Steed who's one of our customers, brand-new customer here in Belfast last November, to come up and say a couple words about his home and what he thinks about having window inserts in it so far. So, John,
Thanks, Corliss.
you're welcome.
So I moved here about 2 years ago into a home that's 160 years old, and it has probably about 30 years of deferred maintenance. So there's a lot of problems with it. And I've been chipping away at this for the last couple of years, and every year I try to do something else to make it more energy efficient. As you can imagine, and I'm sure many of you probably have the same situation, it's really expensive to heat. And so this year we decided that we were going to do 5 things. We were going to focus on insulating our rim joist, weather sealing our doors better, focusing on insulating uninsulated space that went outside the foundation wall, upgrading our furnace, and then installing window inserts. And our windows are probably, out of everything I've listed, none of our walls are insulated. And our windows have, they're single pane, and they have, the glazing is pretty much all gone on most of them. So when you stand in one of the rooms, you know, right next to the window, you can really feel the air coming through. So based on what we've done so far, I actually just ran the numbers today, and we've reduced our oil consumption by 42%, almost half. And that's not all window dressers, but it's a large part. So now when I stand in any of the rooms where we put the window dresser inserts in, I know for the majority of the other things I mentioned, that's not impacting a breeze. So when I stand in those rooms, it feels a lot warmer. And when I'm upstairs, we couldn't afford to do all the windows in our house, so we did the windows on the first floor. And when I'm on the second floor, I feel the heat rising, which is a major benefit for us. So I was asked to come up here and talk about expressions and experiences too about window dressers. And I just wanted to say that it was super easy. I heard about window dressers from our buyer's agent right before we purchased the house, so a couple of years ago. It took me about a year to call you guys, but I finally did. The process was easy. I was able to go there online, figure out what needs to be done, rough estimates on the cost, things like that. And they work with you and send a team out to do the measurements like Corliss mentioned. And they really work with your schedule, so it's very easy to get people out there. It only took maybe about an hour at the most to measure all the windows in my house. And since I couldn't afford all the windows, they still have the measurements for the other windows that I didn't do already. So when I'm ready, when I have the money, I can go back and get those other windows done later, and they'll have them in their database. Let's see. The personnel were very professional. Corliss was there, so of course I'm going to say that because she's here right now. And the volunteering was a lot of fun. My schedule was pretty busy this year, and I've got a toddler, so that the timing didn't work out, and I work a full-time job. But they worked with me, and I actually wanted to volunteer more, but people like it so much that I couldn't get those slots. So it's a really good experience, and there's free food for anybody that likes to eat. So. And in terms of the quality and the durability of the inserts, they're great, and they really do fit really snugly. I didn't have a single problem installing any of them. There was no gaps in any of them. I did damage one already with a pair of skis, but that's to be expected going down a steep staircase. So all that said, I would definitely do it again, and I know I'm going to do it again for the rest of the windows because I can feel the difference upstairs. When I stand in those rooms, I can feel the air coming in, but downstairs, it's a major impact. And once again, there was a bunch of things I did, but 42% savings is pretty huge, and I think window dressers is making up a large part of that. So, thanks, Corliss.
Thank you. We should hire him to go around the state, huh? I think so. I was going to say too, John, clear mailing tape is your friend. Because you'll see in a minute, that's what we seal the outside edge of these inserts with before we put on the foam, and it's very good at, if you didn't make a big hole with your ski, I don't know, it's very good at patching things up, so. Okay, here we go. So this is an example of a day early in a workshop, so you can see these bundles of sticks. That's what we get from Rockland. So each workshop around the state would have a bundle of 4 sticks for each customer's single window to deal with. And then at this point, early in a build, that is the boathouse, I think, we would have quality checked all of these kits when they came into us, and then they've actually had their struts cut. If you remember that little sample that went around, had a little crossbar in the middle. Any window that's over 48 inches in one dimension or another needs a strut. So we cut the struts and we bundle them up with the other sets, and then you can see the completed frames are starting to accumulate around the edge of the room. Where's Hank? What do I do to make this go ahead?
It's going.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so then this is what it looks like when people, the first phase of our workshop in Belfast, it takes us maybe 4 days, 5 days. We actually are assembling the frames using cordless drills and screws and glue and clamps. And all of our volunteers, this is all volunteer work, so this is what they're doing. And then when the frame is finished, they put it on the wall. Again, so you can see the customers' names, and we will stack these frames up, getting ready for the next step. Oh, there's an example. Okay, this shows you, this is over in Searsport, and shows you an example of a super big window that was made. I don't know what that was for. We actually made windows for the Gammons room in this library several years ago, and those were huge too, but it's not really our preference to make windows that are that big. Okay. So then, the next step, after, we do put double-sided tape around the outside of each wooden frame, and then it's wrapped in plastic. So these are Belfast volunteers putting, I can't tell if it's the first or second layer of plastic on that insert. Next. And then after both layers of plastic are on, the frame wrapped in plastic goes to a heat gun table, which is like a fancy version of taking your hair dryer, you know, and shrinking the plastic, and that shrinks it up nice and tightly. And then the next phase is the clear mailing tape I mentioned. So a layer of that is put all the way around all 4 sides to seal the plastic in tightly. And the last step is to put on the weather stripping foam. Here's a happy volunteer in Belfast. And at this point, you can see we've got a lot of the inserts are finished, stacked behind him. And here's a customer, I don't know if anybody knows Ray Estabrook from the Game Loft, but this is Ray Estabrook putting a finished insert into a window in his home that he purchased from us. So among the other, hold on this one, among the other wonderful ways we have community support in Belfast, and I'm sure this is true around the rest of the state too, is we have a couple of companies. This happens to be Belfast Dental Care that sent a team of their employees one evening to our workshop and volunteered helping to make our window inserts. And we also have had teams from Bank of America several years in a row. So obviously they were very happy. There was something mentioned about wine, I think, on the way over. So, but they did a great job. And John mentioned food. Another way we have great community support is we have a lot of restaurants in town who have been wonderful about providing lunches and coffee break snacks and stuff to our volunteers. So you do get good food. And there's a group of our volunteers a couple of years ago sitting around a table enjoying their lunch. And then this, I'm not sure where Hank got this picture from. It's a different workshop, just as an example of all the different people who get together producing window inserts all around the state of Maine. That's it. Oh, I don't want to forget this. Someone down in Rockland, I think, took pictures of a thermometer on somebody's window and compared the temperature between an insert on the left that does, a window on the insert on the left that doesn't have an insert and one on the right that does. So that's pretty significant temperature difference, I guess, attributed to the insert. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. There may be other questions as well that have come up since, so if you'd like to ask questions, Corliss can answer window dresser questions.
Sure.
And any other Efficiency Maine questions for our Efficiency Maine person. That's the presentation for tonight. Clearly, these are incredibly effective methods of both saving money and saving energy. I can actually do my own testimonial. I volunteered for the Searsport project. I actually worked on that giant window you saw. That huge one. That was fun. I made 10 inserts for my daughter's house in Massachusetts. So I did the measuring myself. I was down there. They do not go that far. They do not send their teams 200 miles. So she just moved into this house about a year ago. There are about at least 3 or 4 windows that are not good. I mean, not good. And then there were about 4 or 5 that were mediocre. So I measured for 10, and I got the white ones because she has white trim. And I know what the bill was. It was something $450. There were some smaller ones and some medium-sized ones. And I took them down there and I installed them. And within a few hours, my daughter came to me. I was still in the house. She said, you know, it's unbelievable. These rooms are actually warmer. I can tell they're already warmer. And so that was fun to hear that. And then I left and I came home. And a few days later, she sent me an email and she said, it's unbelievable how warm the rooms are. And she mentioned a few specific things. She has young children, a new baby, and one of the windows was in one of those rooms, and she had to do some kind of hanging of a blanket over the window. So she commented on that. She said, it's warm in that room. It's warm right near the baby's bed, etc. So I've also done the calculation that you provided just now, which is that if I spent $450, and the calculation which I've heard and done myself is that the first year is a $300 savings on oil. And my daughter has oil in her house. So halfway through the second year, the inserts will have been paid for. That's $150 of the second year. That means starting halfway through the second year, she will save $150. And the next year she'll save $300, and the year after that $300, and the year after that over 10 years, that's about $3,000. She's going to save $3,000 on her $450 investment. That is a super investment if you have any economics. That's a staggering payback. I also saw the heat pump numbers. The comparison between what it costs to run electric baseboard, somewhere around, or electric hot water heater was something like $500. And it was 160 something for the heat pump, hot water heater. That's a huge number in 1 year. But the life of that product could be 10 to 15 years. That could be a $4,000 savings or more in energy. So anyway, those are some impressive numbers. Thanks very much for the presentation, and thanks for coming and telling us about Efficiency Maine. Joe mentioned it, but if you haven't signed anywhere and you are new, we'd love to collect your your contact information. One of the things we're doing, as well as reminding people of these public meetings, because we have a new theme or a new topic every month that will be relevant for many people, is we send out reminders or mailings. So we'd like to collect your contact information. And we'd also like to invite people to find out more about what the Climate Crisis Committee is doing. We have open meetings twice a month. They are at 8 in the morning. We welcome visitors to come and hear what's happening. And Climate Solutions Waldo County is meeting regularly, and we have a couple of projects underway. We're working presently with the high school students to solarize either the high school or the school system in Belfast. And we're thinking about other projects that will be either energy conservation projects or in some way climate-related projects for Belfast and Waldo County. So we invite your participation.